Greetings. We're going to do Light Eaters reading for today. I think we stopped on page 107 from what I recall. Masticating plant flesh. Rings a bell for me. Okay. Once one opens the door to plants, registering the sound of caterpillars chewing, other considerations come into play. The world is a noisy place. What else might plants hear? As I write this, researchers are busy birthing a field some have taken to call phytoacoustics. The plants should hear that plants should hear becomes more believable when one tries to take a plant's point of view. Hearing is an extremely useful sense to have, especially if you are rooted in place. If you can't flee or seek, or at least not very fast, then all you need is all the advance warning that you can get. At an even more basic level, hearing is a sense, ancient and everywhere, fundamental to life. Plants have a lot to gain from using acoustic information. If something is happening outside an organism that could be useful for its survival, that organism may have developed a way to sense it. Kind of cool for like every single living being. Just helpful, really. Really. Evolution, ever scanning for a benefit, will give the organisms ways to use its awareness to further its project of survival. And it could be wildly useful to agriculture if scientists can find the right application. After all, in apples' work, a sound cue causes the plant to make its own pesticide. If plants could be made to produce pesticides through simply playing sounds to them, it could reduce or eliminate the need for synthetic pesticides on farms, and in some cases increase the level of compounds that the crop in question is grown for. In a crop like mustard, for example, the plant's own pesticide is the very thing it is farmed for: mustard oil. Putting a lavender bush on a high alert by playing the right sounds would cause it to make more of the defensive compound we prize in lavender oil. Yada, yada, yada. Just carry that on to whatever essence or essential oil that you're looking for, I suppose. I don't know. Researchers globally have tried to see if playing certain tones to plants can prompt them to certain actions. They experiment with various frequencies for different lengths of time. Right now, the research on tones is rather scattershot. One study found that playing Aripidoplosis, a series of tones for 3 hours per day over 10 days, increased its ability to fight off a harmful fungal infection. Another found that playing some tones to rice for an hour improves the plant's ability to survive drought conditions. And researchers who played tones at the different frequencies to alfalfa sprouts for 2 hours saw that they increased the plant's content of vitamin C, which means their nutritional value went up. When they repeated the experiment with broccoli and radish sprouts, they managed to increase their content of flavonoids too. One can imagine a future where farmers set up boom boxes instead of crop dusters. It's kind of funny if you're thinking about flatulent, but I'm going to read this one sentence again because it's important for later on reference. Researchers who played tones at different frequencies to alfalfa sprouts for 2 hours saw that they increased the plant's content of vitamin C, which means their nutritional value went up. So imagine playing a song to yourself that actually creates stamina in your body. The reason I wanted to repeat that was because of the idea of binaural beats. If you've never heard of it before, go look it up. It's frequencies that are played to humans or can be played to humans and are considered somewhat of a sound therapy. It's like a binaural beat is the tone that is being played to your body that then creates a specific compound or a specific nutritional value set that increases or decreases, right? And that's relevant the way that you want to make it relevant. Apple's work fits into this matrix in a way, but rather than auditioning random tones in front of plants, she is more interested in asking about the sounds a plant actually encounters in nature. She thinks plants are more likely to have interesting responses to sounds that they have evolved alongside. So whatever they grow next to. If they hear their neighboring plants being eaten by caterpillars, or you'll see in a moment she's going to mention bees buzzing, then that plant can have a response based off of the information that's transmitted or signaled in some way, shape, or form. So, scientists call this ecological relevance. Sounds of predators are certainly ecologically relevant. If playing the sounds of the caterpillar that eats, I shouldn't have said that. Now I'm just ruining the book. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Yes, spoiler all types of stuff right now. So just, I'll stop. That eat Arabidopsis. I need to remember Arrivederci. Could prime that plant's immune system. There's no reason to think the same wouldn't be true for other plant predators and plant pollinator pairs. Some flowers are buzz pollinated, for example. They can be induced to release their pollen when playing a recording of buzzing bees. Could plants also listen for the sound of their fruit eaters, which are often noisy, think parrots, to time the ripening, or the sound of thunder to prepare to receive the rain? It could make sense. So this is one example. A desert plant would need to ready itself to take up as much water as possible. Or also, any plant with pollen in its flowers would do well to close its petals ahead of a rainstorm before the pollen is washed away. Phytoacoustics wants to find out. The next logical question is how plants could possibly hear at all. They may not have ears in the traditional sense, but ears come in all forms. In 2017, excuse me, I'm just going to make up some numbers. In 2017, a collaboration between researchers in China and the United States found that the tiny hairs on Arabidopsis leaves function as acoustic antennae, picking up and vibrating at the frequency of incoming sounds. Yeah, that was the cochlear hair that I was talking about. There's hairs on the inside of your ear, kind of look like a conch shell, and those hairs move with the vibration or frequency of the sound wave that's hitting your eardrum. That's why you can hear sound or not. Or not. I don't know. Like, I think some people have different frequent, like, you know how there's dog whistles? Different species, different humans. It's like having a sonar inside your ear that is picking up the or like a, you know how they do lie detector tests and the needle will bounce depending on the emotional input. This is not an emotional input. However, it is a frequency of vibration that's traveling through the air. So that's the point. Many other plants also have tiny hair-like structures on their leaves. Understanding whether or not these structures, called trichomes or trichomes, it's trichomes, function as antennae on other species will too require more study. So, like, you know, there's an unsaid, unspoken readiness that happens when people are playing games on like a football field. When Patrick Mahomes hears a certain stimuli, right? He readies himself to receive it or to throw it or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a unsaid connection that happens. That is not necessarily a good thing. It is not necessarily a bad thing. It is not necessarily anything at all, except for the fact that it is the same between neighboring plants. Any stimuli, whether it be the onset of a rainstorm or the onset of a buzz fest with the bees, right? Or caterpillars chewing. Those are all not necessarily bad things if you're a caterpillar, a pollinator, or, you know, a non-pollinating flower. But it just depends on the way that you need to prepare yourself for it. So I don't know, I think in football it's a diamond. You use a diamond to receive the ball. You do the same thing in romance, right? You get married, put a rock on it, a rock on it, put something on it to like reserve your spot. There's promise rings, there's your actual wedding ring, then there's like anniversary rings, then there's like, I don't know why I almost said wings, it's just the buzzing. Anyway, researchers have already found that trichomes allow plants to sense the footsteps of moths and caterpillars and mount defenses in response. That's what I was saying. It's not actual defense because the moth or the caterpillar hasn't necessarily arrived yet, but it's a sense that it's on its way. Throw the diamond up, right? I'm just kidding. Yeah, it is. It's a feeling of nausea. You haven't actually gotten sick yet, but it's kind of like hinting at the fact that you might. When you hear your stomach going like gurgling around, you kind of already know it's about to take place. It's usually either an explosion up top or down low, if you know what I mean. So that's I don't know why I'm so like scatological sometimes, but it just seemed appropriate in this defensive moment, okay? Trichomes are clearly exquisitely sensitive organs. One can't help but be reminded of the inner ears of animals, which are also covered in specialized hair cells that vibrate in response to sound waves and convert those vibrations into electrical signals that are sent along nerves to the brain, right? This is yet another reminder that when evolution has a good idea, we'll likely see it across the spectrum of life. So there's this 100th monkey theory, and I've already mentioned it 1,000 times before. Probably will mention it 1,000 more times. Okay. It's the understanding that if something happens in a species of monkey that lives hundreds and thousands of miles away from another group or another species of monkey, if the first group of monkeys teaches themselves how to do said thing, the second group automatically also teaches themselves to do said thing without any prompting. It's like